the physical features of Africa. Well, Africa is the second largest and the second most populous continent in the world. It covers 6% of Earth's total surface area and it accounts for about 16% of the world's human population. The continent is surrounded by Mediterranean Sea to the north, the Isthmus of Suez and the Red Sea to the northeast, and the Indian Ocean to the southeast, and Atlantic Ocean to the west. This continent includes the Madagascar and various archipelagos, and it contains 54 fully recognized sovereign states, that is, countries. This entire continent is divided into five regions, that is, North, South, East, West, and the Central. Let us learn the names of the countries that lies within these five regions. The countries in the Southern Division are South Africa, Lesotho, Swaziland, Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Malawi, Zambia, and Angola. The countries of the Central Division are Democratic Republic of Congo, Congo, Gabon, Central African Republic, Burundi, Cameroon, Chad, Equatorial Guinea, Sao Tome Principe. Then we come to the Eastern Division. Here the countries are Tanzania, Rwanda, Kenya, Uganda, South Sudan, Sudan, Ethiopia, Somalia, Eritrea, Djibouti, Madagascar, Comoros, Mauritius, and Seychelles. In the western part, we have Niger, Benin, Togo, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Gambia, Senegal, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Cape Verde. In the Northern Division, we have Mauritania, Western Sahara, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, and Egypt. Africa can be divided into many different regions. That is the desert region, which includes the Sahara Desert, Kalahari Desert, and the Namib Desert. Then it is the tropical rainforest regions. Then savanna, Ethiopian highlands, Swahili coast, and southern Africa. Then the mountainous regions like the Atlas Mountain. We talk about the first division, and that is the Sahara Desert. It is the largest hot desert in the world and the third largest desert overall after Antarctica and the Arctic. It has an area of 92 lakh square kilometers and is comparable to the area of China and the United States. The desert comprises much of North Africa, excluding the fertile regions on the Mediterranean Sea coast, the Atlas Mountains of the Maghreb, and the Nile Valley in Egypt and Sudan. It stretches from the Red Sea in the east and the Mediterranean in the north to the Atlantic Ocean in the west, where the landscapes gradually changes from the desert to the coastal plains. The Sahara Desert can be divided into several regions, including the Western Sahara, the Central Aghar Mountains, the Tibesti Mountains, the Air Mountains, the Tenere Desert, and the Libyan Desert, and extends into 11 countries. And these are Algeria, Chad, Egypt, Libya, Mali, Mauritania, Morocco, Niger.
The campus does feel like a lot like home.
You don't.
Tunisia, Western Sahara. The Sahara Desert is covered with sand dunes, rocky hills, and stretches of gravel that continue for miles and miles. Now, very few people live in the desert because it is considered one of the harshest places to live in the world. The people who live here are called nomads. They move from place to place, usually traveling by camel, looking for food and water. To the south, it is bounded by the Sahel. Talking about the Sahel, it is a strip of dry grassland that is located south of Sahara. The word Sahel means border or margin. It is a region between the desert to the north and the grasslands and rainforest to the south. It is a dry, semi arid region that is slowly turning into a desert. It gets more rainfall than the desert, but still receives very little, ranging from 6 to 20 inches. We go to the next division, and that is the Africa's tropical rainforest. Now, it is located along the central coast of Africa near the equator. It mainly lies in the Congo River basin. The rainforest covers one fifth of the land surface of Africa and touches 37 countries. It is the second largest rainforest in the world, and the Amazon rainforest in Brazil is the largest. The rainforest has a hot and humid climate. It rains for about 117 days per year, with a total of approximately 1,766 millimeters of rainfall. There is a large variety of animals found in this region. The trees are so thick and tall that sunlight never reaches the forest floor. The trees grow hundreds of feet tall. The Congo rainforest is famous for its gorillas, chimpanzee, and elephants, as well as its native population of forest dwellers known as pygmies. Now we come to African savannas. The savannas are areas of open grasslands with dispersed trees, grasses, and tall and thick, while trees are short and scattered. Well, African savannas are hot, dry grasslands that are located near the equator and cover almost half of Africa. They actually cover the region just north and south of rainforest that lie along the equator. The African savanna is the largest in the world. Nearly half of the continent of Africa is covered with savanna grasslands. There is a large variety of wildlife here, including lions, zebras, and elephants. Then comes the African Great Lakes. Well, it is a system of natural water features that flow in the valley. Together, they comprise some of the deepest and largest lakes in the world. The largest lakes include Lake Victoria, Lake Tanganyika, Lake Albert, Lake Edward, Lake Malawi, Lake Kivu, Lake Turkana. Together, they form the seven major African Great Lakes. Lake Tanganyika is located in Central Africa. It is divided between the Burundi, Congo, Tanzania, and Zambia. Lake Tanganyika is the deepest lake in Africa and one of the deepest in the world. It is also one of the largest freshwater lakes in the world. Lake Victoria is the largest lake in Africa and the second largest freshwater lake in the world. Lake Superior is the largest. It is located in Central Africa and extends into three countries, that is, Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya. While Nile begins here, Lake Victoria is vital in supporting the millions of people that live nearby. It provides a living for many fishermen and attracts millions of tourists each year. This region has a large reserve of aquatic and terrestrial life forms, most of them usually living near the surface or deep under the water. These include the Nile perch fish, wild beast, hippos, and crocodiles. Then we come to Kalahari Desert. Kalahari Desert is located in the southwestern Africa. It covers parts of Botswana, Namibia, and South Africa. The region is surrounded by semi arid areas that are slowly becoming more dry. It is not a true desert because it receives 3 to 10 inches of rain per year. Because of the precipitation and underground supplies, grass, shrubs, and wild animals
Ethiopian
manage to live in the Kalahari Desert. Then we come to Ethiopian highlands. Ethiopian highlands is a rugged mass of mountains in Ethiopia, situated in the Horn region in northeast Africa. It forms the largest continuous area of its elevation in the continent, with little of its surface falling below 1,500 meters, while the summits reach a height of 4,550 meters. It is sometimes called the roof of Africa due to its height and large area. Now, most of the Ethiopian highlands are part of central and north Ethiopia, and its northernmost portion reaches into Eritrea. Then we come to Swahili Coast. The Swahili Coast makes up one of the geographic region of Africa with the least number of wildlife. The stretch consists of the coastline extending from Somalia to Mozambique. The Swahili coast consists of sandy beaches and maritime plant life. Then we come to southern Africa. This should not be confused with South Africa. Now, this is another great reserve of wildlife among the geographic regions of Africa. Southern Africa has a shelf of bedrock known as the Kapa Wall extending throughout. The area is rich in mountains and plateaus. The region has some of the Africa's richest plant species varieties, and some are native to the region. These include the giant protea, which happens to be South Africa's national flower. This species thrives in the Cape Flora area. There is also plenty of animal species that find refuge in this lush wildlife. They include the graceful impala and the menacing Big Five, famous for their hard to hunt reputation, that is, the lion, leopard, rhinoceros, elephant, Cape buffalo, baboons, and Burchell zebras also call this place home. Then comes the Atlas Mountains. Well, Atlas Mountains are the mountain ranges in North Africa. The mountains extend from Morocco to Tunisia between the Mediterranean and the Sahara Desert. They separate the coastal region from the Sahara Desert. Then comes the Eastern Rift Mountains, which has the famous mountain that is Mount Kilimanjaro. Now, Eastern Rift Mountains extend actually from Jordan in Southwest Asia southward through Eastern Africa to Mozambique. And this is totally 6,400 kilometers long and averages 48 to 64 kilometers wide. It has Mount Kilimanjaro and Mount Kenya. Then it is Drakensberg Mountains. The Drakensberg Mountain is the name given to the eastern portion of the Great Escarpment, which encloses the central southern African plateau. The Great Escarpment reaches its greatest elevation in this region, that is 2,000 to 3,482 meters. It is located in South Africa and Lesotho. Thank you for watching.
the people of the African continent and the people of Kenya, the people who loves the truth, and the people who reveres the Almighty God. Evening, I'm having a thought or an idea on how we can be able to restructure our mind and think about us, our unity as a people of Africa, people of the African descent, and people who are the first people to be found in the world, and people who will always be there with their strength, with their capability of mind, and with their good decision making aspect. And I want us to think about ourselves in a more critical way. And my thought is about you as a being. In most cases, we find that sometimes we feel that we can neglect to call ourselves Africans, that we can also not feel comfortable associating ourselves with our own tribes, with our own clans, with our own generations. And sometimes we feel we need to be in another generation or belonging to another tribe. I have ever heard people in Africa saying that they regret being born Africans and also being born as of their tribe. But I want you to understand one concept of your life, that you are who you are because of the society that you come from. You are who you are because of the parents that brought you here down. You are who you are because of the society and the nation that you are in. You are who you are because God purposed you to be the way you are. You cannot change the uniqueness of you as a person. I want you to understand that you are very unique. No wonder the Bible says that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are too fearfully made because you do not belong to a space of anybody else. Your space is yours. Wherever you occupy is your occupation. Without you, it remains a vacuum that can never be filled. Therefore, understand that you are a unique person in the society that you belong to. You are a unique person in the clan that you belong to. You are very unique in the family that you belong to. You are very, very unique in the continent of Africa where you belong to. And when you will depart, your space will remain vacuum forever. It cannot be occupied by anybody else. The same way your fingerprints are never the same like for another person. They are different. They cannot lie. They cannot lie. Whether you're twins, identical twins, you are a unique person. That uniqueness that you have is what is so much important for you to understand that uniqueness, because that is the uniqueness that will help you to perform any kind of job that you are doing in a very unique manner. Yes, you can be a marketer like anybody else, but your marketing strategy might be very unique when you put the purpose of your uniqueness in it. You can be a preacher like anybody else, but the end result is very unique because you are a unique person. In this, I want to tell you, my brother, my sister, do not copy another person. You are not a photocopy. You are not a scanned. You are very unique. Produce yourself in that unique way. Produce yourself in that uniqueness matter. Produce yourself in the wonders that you have been created into and the fears that you have been created into. Understand your purpose. and more so understand the reason why you are in a certain society. You are a Kenyan, understand the reason why you are Kenyan. You are a Ghanaian, understand the reason why you are Ghanaian. You are Cameroonian, understand that concept of why you are Cameroonian. And when you understand that, bring your uniqueness and your purpose into the unity of our people, the unity of the people of Africa, the unity of the people of your nation. Bring unity to the Ghanaians, bring unity to Cameroonians, and then bring unity to Africans. All right? Africans united, we will stand. But we have been falling down because we are never united. When the colonialists came and found that we are united, they decided to divide us so that they can rule us. Because the concept of ruling is dividing and ruling. You divide and you rule. This division has gone so bad into nepotism, where people divide people into their tribal cocoons and more so into their households, meaning that they want people to disengage so much so that they can have the power to rule. But my prayer, I want you to understand that you are very unique and our unity is so much important, because in the unity I will gain, you will gain. The meaning of team, together everyone achieves more. When we are united, we can achieve more and we can make our heads meet. Hustling alone will always let you have a lot of wounds in your heart, in your mind, in your character, in your activities. But when you join efforts together as a family, with your wife, with your children, if they are grown up, with your family relations, when you join your efforts up, you make your ends meet. You come up with something that will make you to move. Therefore, my brother, I'm doing a call, a clarion call for African people. When we think of Africa, let us think of our unity. Let us think of our resources. Let us think of our human capacity. And let us put all our human capacity into work. Let us put all our human capacity into development of issues. If they are iron ores, let us dig them. If they are petroleum, let us mine them. If they are coal, let us mine it. Everything that the Lord has given to us, let us put efforts into it. Mobilize our natural resources, mobilize our human resources, mobilize our power, our intellect, and make use of it. Let us do mentorship to the young generations, and we shall make Africa be a shining star. Africa has been a refuge for many people, including Messiah. He was brought here by the mother and father when they ran away from the Herod. And therefore, Africa is so much important. Africa fed the whole world during the time of Joseph. Africa feeds the whole world today through the resources that we have, natural resources, through the agricultural products, through the human interact, and through our minds. Therefore, why don't we come together and have an African concept, think on an African way? Yes, the other continents will raise against us because we want to be united. But should we fear them? We should break the boundaries that were created by our colonialists and unite our people and move together as a people. And by doing that, the whole world will realize peace. The whole world will realize development. The whole world will honor Africans because we are honorable people, blessed of God. May you have a very good evening and share this to your friends and let us come together and reason and dialogue and share and talk and communicate and bring our people together. It doesn't matter the kind of tribe you come from. It doesn't matter the country that you come from. It doesn't matter your language. It doesn't matter the level of your academic performance. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the level or the degree of your faith or the religion that you belong to. But let us understand that we are all Africans, and Africans, we come together and build our synergies. God bless you, and may your glory that which has been given by God, may it move with you, remain with you, and give generations and generations to come. Thank you. Good evening.
Have the largest population? How might topography and climate limit the population of a continent? Segment 3, Geography of Africa. Before watching Geography of Africa, think about this. Although Africa is a large continent in area, it doesn't have the largest population. How might topography and climate limit the population of a continent?
Africa is the second largest continent with 1/5 of the world's land area. In the north, Africa is bordered by the Mediterranean Sea, on the east by the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean, and on the west by the Atlantic Ocean. Africa has the world's largest desert, the Sahara, which runs almost coast to coast. It rarely rains here, and few people make their homes in this region. The desert divides the continent culturally between northern and sub-Saharan Africa. Most of the people who live north of the Sahara are Arabs, and most living south of it are Black Africans. Below the Sahara, the continent gets more rain, and the landscape gradually changes to vast grassland areas called savannas. Here, people raise cattle and tend their herds. In the east runs Africa's longest river, the Nile. Beginning at Lake Victoria, it flows north 4,000 miles before emptying into the Mediterranean Sea. The equator runs through Africa. In the west lies a dense rainforest that receives as much as 60 inches of rain every year. It's a humid, lush home for some of Africa's varied wildlife. Further east along the equator is Africa's most distinctive feature, the Great Rift Valley, an enormous depression in the Earth's crust that was created as a result of prehistoric volcanic activity. Here is Africa's largest lake, Lake Victoria, and its highest mountain, Mount Kilimanjaro. The grasslands of this region contain large herds of wild elephants, zebras, and antelope, as well as predators such as lions and cheetah. In the southern part of Africa is the Kalahari Desert. Most of this large sandy basin lies in the country of Botswana, but it also covers the eastern third of Namibia. Although it is very dry, this desert receives more rain than the Sahara. Africa has some 52 countries, more than any other continent. It is home to more than 740 million people. The country of Egypt straddles the Nile in the northeast. Algeria lies on the northwestern corner of this continent, bordering the Mediterranean Sea. Kenya, Ethiopia, and Tanzania are in the east. The country of South Africa sits at the southern tip of the continent. Congo is located in the central part of Africa. And in the west lie Nigeria, Mali, and Ghana. Africa boasts a unique geography that is home to a large variety of wildlife and peoples. And as a continent, it has the fastest growing population in the world today.
Now that you've seen geography of Africa, talk about this. How are the topography and climate different in northern and southern Africa?